Welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast, a slice of joy and healing with your host, Dr. Altricia Foster. This is a heartwarming and uplifting space that celebrates the transformative power of baking therapy. The conversations will be a delightful blend of inspirational stories, expert insights, and practical baking tips. Each episode will take listeners on a journey of self-discovery, emotional healing, and connection through the therapeutic art of baking. There's something here for everyone, so lock in and let's get into it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Cake Therapy Podcast, your slice of joy and healing with me, your host, Altricia Foster. Today, guys, you're going to be in for a treat. Your slice of joy and healing comes all the way from Brisbane, Australia. We are joined by the one and only, the Luminaire, a Luminaire in the baking community. She's an executive chef. She's a master baker. Her collection of trend-setting cakes are just pure works of art. She's been featured in Vogue, in Lane, to name a few. And I am excited. I am really overjoyed and excited to welcome into this space cake artist Marina Machado. Welcome to the Cake Therapy Podcast.
Oh, Tricia!
Hey,
Thank
Marina.
you so much for having me.
Yeah.
What an
So,
absolute pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here with you. It's, to be honest with you, I barely left last night.
why?
I was just so excited to talk to you. It has been a while already. I saw
Mhm.
you in February this year,
Yeah.
but the connection that we had was so deep that I'm always thinking about you. I'm cooking and thinking about your journey, and we really deeply connected, right, through cake.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's amazing what cake can do for people to bring them
Yeah,
together, but then it's amazing what cake can do to heal people and to connect through that healing, that cake brings to everyone.
yeah,
So, yeah.
it is.
So,
It is
welcome.
incredible. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, welcome. So, guys, I tell you that this woman here is a magician in the kitchen. She's a magician in her studio. And we were like scanning to see like what we're gonna talk about. When I met Marina in February, I knew what her voice would mean and bring to this space. But before we get into the conversation, I want Marina to tell me about her last cake on her page. Tell me
Oh
about
my
that.
God, which
The
one is
last,
that?
the last post you made is almost like a
It's a vase, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Tell me, how did
Oh
you get
yeah,
there?
I
Tell
don't
me
know.
about it.
I don't know. So this is the thing about my cakes.
Yeah.
They the idea comes through, and I have no idea how I'm gonna achieve it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I just had an idea, in an idea of movement that I wanna bring, and I'm like, my God, how am I gonna get there?
Yeah.
Which medium am I gonna use? And especially that cake, the last one I posted,
Yeah.
the last two vases I posted, they will live deep in my heart. They
Mm-hmm.
were I made them in a moment where I was bleeding inside. Hey, my heart was I was going through very deep healing this year. I've been through deep healing, and this cake got me through the very tough part of the healing. And by
Mm-hmm.
making the cake and kindly bringing that soft shape to it,
Right.
it's simply it's I don't know how to explain. Someone said something in my social media phrase. I don't remember the words really, but that cake is so simple, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, so I don't know, it's breathtaking in itself.
Yeah.
So throughout trying to bring that soft movement and that shape in 2 days of making it, it just washed my soul. It really
Yeah.
did. And
It's incredible.
yeah, that cake truly, it's a change on my journey in cake design, because until that point, I was the cake was my cakes were expressing a lot of my, maybe my angry voice, my sadness, um, my just my scream to the world about my frustration to of my story, my whole story as a woman, as a mother, as a child.
Mm-hmm.
um, so I was going with many mediums, many forms, unshaped, imperfect, raw. And this one, for the first time, was accepting who I really am,
Mm-hmm.
and not in need to tell the world with so much emphasis, just
Yeah.
being. So
It's
yeah,
it's amazing, Marina. And I'm very happy that I asked you about that because I was like, where did Marina get this from? Because
I
I know
know.
she bakes from such a deep and spiritual place. But tell, share with our guests, like, who is Marina?
Oh,
Share with us your bringing in Brazil. Start there. Your early life in Brazil, your energy around food,
okay,
and
okay.
yeah, talk to me.
So
Tell us.
pretty much, I'm a full-on Brazilian, right? I think
Yeah.
I think I can't really hide that. I've got this, energy that I think everyone gets, and for some
Mm-hmm.
people it might be a lot, but for the ones that I really need to connect, that life put me with,
Mm-hmm.
it really sticks to people. I've got that energy, right? I can't really
Mm-hmm.
stop, can I?
Right.
So back in Brazil, I'm from a state called Minas Gerais. It is in Brazil. There is a food culture that's very separated by states, right? And where I'm from, the state I'm from, is very, very known for its food. It's a very local food that just we can cook. It's deep. It's the traditional families carrying it, the mothers teaching the daughters, and the grandmothers and the great grandmothers all getting together to make lunch together, to um, eat lunch, and then at the same time get ready to start making dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's where we gather. The houses have big kitchens. The kitchen is together with the living room and so on, and that's the place to be.
Right.
Okay. I come from a family with deep cooking roots. And we spend a lot of time at my mom's farm cooking with my four sisters. We come from big families, and
Mm-hmm.
I grew up like that, you
Yeah.
see. Um, so throughout my life, I mean, look, Brazil, developing country, um, you're fighting not to be poor. So you just the families, middle class families, tend to chase the money, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you go to university, and you got to think about pretty much your parents behind the scenes. They teach you, go get a career to get your money, not be poor, and enjoy life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
plain. I'm being plain, and I don't want to offend anyone, but that was my family.
Yeah.
Um, and therefore, I went to uni. I wanted to be social worker or a vet or a doctor, but
Mm-hmm.
then my parents were like, "Nah, social work won't bring you any money," and blah blah. I'm like, "Oh God, oh God, oh God." Got into the whole pressure and ended up doing business management.
Mm-hmm.
Ran some of my little family's businesses around, a mushroom company at my mom's farm that we had, and then was not giving much money. And my dad used to work in financial markets, And Dad said to me, "Hey, come here, let's do this. Let me teach you this." And I got
Yeah.
into financial markets. Um, from there on, you know, long story short, I went to London to study, to do my master's degree. I did
Mm-hmm.
in information management. The whole idea was to go back to Brazil and keep going with financial markets. But, thank goodness I met my husband.
That's good. Like you said, thank goodness she met her husband. But I have a what made you want to do social work? Because you said you wanted to get into social work. What was driving that for you, and not as opposed to the financial or the economic aspect, the business aspect that was your family was driving? What was pushing you in that social work direction?
Oh, Tricia, now if I look back from when I was young and until now, what I'm going through, it's a forever journey of healing. You
Mm-hmm.
see, um, and healing, maybe healing myself through others.
Mm-hmm.
That need of a connection where you can mirror people, and then you actually go like, "Oh wow, let me think about what this is happening. This is happening. Let me think about it and how I get. What is it for me? Because it's not that the help. It's not just helping others. It's helping you too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Teaching around as I'm doing is exactly that. I came back from the teaching in Canada where I met you, and I was for 2 months in deep healing from that teaching because of you.
Yeah. Yeah. So you find that giving back has helped you to really heal,
Yes.
from the things that
So
you've been through.
yeah. So it's always um, you see, I am an advocate of um, being real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this world of social media and this visual connection we have with yeah, it's just we are bombarded with visuals, aren't we,
Yeah.
nowadays?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in social media, which is a big part of my business, because I started doing just sharing some behind the scenes in my kitchen, and my social media became so big.
Yeah.
um, one thing that if I struggle a lot is this fake world on social media.
Yeah.
And I'm always there telling, come on, guys, come back to reality here. This is all very nice. You see me going to amazing venues, delivering awesome wedding cakes, but I'm struggling. I deal with PTSD, I deal with depression, I deal with high functioning anxiety, and all of that comes from a big trauma I had back in my life when I was young. Um, and It was so big in my life, so big that I actually forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
So my brain shut down all the memories from those traumas in my childhood, and I could not remember. But if I look back, I I lived by reacting through
Mm-hmm.
the trauma I lived. So I was always very anxious, always very irritated, always just unsettled, living in adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That. And pretty much I got lost, completely lost. And when I met
Mm-hmm.
my husband is amazing. He's such a kind soul. And he's got a kind, amazing heart. And he said to me, "Are you happy doing what you're doing? How about what are we gonna teach our kids when we decide to have a family? Are we gonna teach them to chase money? Because you don't seem happy to me, and I wanna be an example for our kids instead of a parrot." like pa, 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 just telling them. It's by
Mm-hmm.
example. And we both decided to start chasing our passion. But then, Altricia, I lived a life until then that I was just doing what I was told to do, to be honest. And by the time I decided to follow my passion, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know what my passion was.
Oh.
I was so lost in so many years of
Mm-hmm.
following a path that my family set for me, my family wanted for me. And I
Yeah.
realized that my entire life, I was just living by pleasing people. And then at that time, I didn't know about my trauma. I just realized because the first person in my life, my hubby, asked me, "What do you like doing?" And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, my God, does it matter?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
actually, it matters because I'm not happy." And then I started my journey trying to find who Marina is. That's
Yeah.
where it started in London 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So from there on, how did I read some books to try to help me to get my passion going. What is Marina passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
And one reading some books, I remember just the idea of what do you spend your spare time? Like what do you like doing? What, because I never had hobbies, you see.
Yeah.
How
Mm-hmm.
funny is that? No hobbies.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I'm always in the kitchen cooking. Always.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
love cooking.
And that's how you
I
got there.
I go deep into it. It's like it's
Mm-hmm.
something I can't help. I
Yeah.
feel
Yep.
unsettled. I want to cook something warm to just warm my body and make me feel home. And
Mm-hmm.
I have that. And I always had that.
Yeah. So you know what I find like interesting is like there is a common thread in each of our baking stories. You know, when I speak to bakers, there is this common thread, especially in mine and especially in yours, right? It's how we started
Mm,
pursuing something else, but we ultimately ended up doing other things in the professional world of baking.
that's
For
right.
me, that was the vaccine science and all of that. So you made this move to London to pursue your studies in business, but you found yourself cooking again. What was
Yeah.
that transition like, especially in the way that it served your soul?
I know it was so hard, to be honest, because I had no idea what I was doing. There is one part of it which is I love cooking. How am I gonna pay my bills?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I never liked finance. It was always a push for me to learn it, to trade in financial markets. I've never, but cooking was like, I want to know more. Buy this, buy the book. Oh my God, did you try this? Let's plant basil in the community garden. Let's, all of that. And
Mm-hmm.
however, we wanted to we wanted to have a family. How are we gonna? And I had no money, by the way. I was broken, completely broken. So I'm like, how am I gonna transition? But I mean, chefs in the UK, they don't earn good money. I mean, chefs in general don't earn good money. But we were ready to do what it takes to be happy, not chase money, pay the bills that we needed to pay to have an okay lifestyle. We are simple people, okay? And then Simon said to me, my husband said to me, he had some spare money at the time, and he said to me, if you love cooking so much, and you do love cooking, you are always cooking. Um, why don't you pursue like a course in culinary school? And I'm like, I've got no money. I'm old to be a chef. Chefs start when they are 14 as apprentices, and they move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was 26 at the time, 26 or 27. And he went like, look, I've heard about an amazing culinary school here. It's Le Cordon Bleu, which I don't know how to pronounce properly because it's a French name, but and I'm like, I can't afford it. This is ridiculous. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? Let's let's invest in our lives, and let me pay this for you. And he paid the course for me, and
Mm-hmm.
I that was the start of of a crazy time in my life
Yeah.
where I was in culinary school, and at the same time, I got a job as a chef at a two Michelin-star restaurant back in London. And I
Mm-hmm.
was working 17 hours per day and waking up. And then on my day off, I would go to school, and I was juggling all of that to try to learn as much as I could from the best chefs in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, but it was a journey, Patricia, that I, I will never, ever forget. If I
Yeah.
close my eyes, I can go there in a minute.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. However, a very difficult. One thing is the idea, MasterChef, all those shows on TV. They make us feel very excited about cooking. However, um, making money out of cooking as a chef
Mm-hmm.
in the industry is a tough
Right.
one,
Yeah.
and the
So
hours are tough.
yeah. Mm-hmm. I've heard that the hours for chefs are really, really difficult. And you mentioned working with Michelin star chefs, and I've read where you said that you found yourself making pastries at the Mandarin Oriental in Knightsbridge, right? One
Yeah.
of the great pastry kitchens of London. Tell me, Marina, what does this experience mean? How big of a deal was this to you
Ah,
after you got this
so
opportunity?
look, those were fond memories. My God, I could go back there to cook like that.
Sounds
So
like a
pretty
party.
much. Oh, it was so good. So
Yeah.
what happened when I was at uh, at school in London? The
Mm-hmm.
situation is my heart was always divided between cuisine and
Yeah.
pastry, pâtissier. I couldn't afford both courses. We didn't have the money. We had
Oh,
the money to afford one course, and then I did cuisine. So I was
mm-hmm.
doing cuisine at Le Cordon Bleu, and I was trying to learn from my friends at school that were doing the two courses. I'm
Yeah.
like, please just teach me something. I love cooking pastry. And they would come to me after their classes. They would come
Mm-hmm.
to me with the cakes that they made, and they would share with me. And I'm like, oh my God, how did you make that? Teach
Yeah.
me. I would have friends around to teach me and so on. So I tried to soak in as much as I could of that knowledge through friendships, okay, that
Yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
could pay for it. But then I worked at Michelin Star in cuisine with Marcus Waring. And during work, when the girls from pastry were calling sick, then the head chef would come and say, "Who wants to replace pastry girls?" And all the guys would go like, "Oh, no, I'll never do that." And I'm like, "Me, get
Yeah.
me." And that was it. That was the start of having work experience in the pastry kitchen, which is separated. In places like that, they are separated kitchens. The cuisine doesn't share the pastry kitchen because of smells and utensils with garlic and so on. You don't put in pastry. But then when I was at school, one of the pastry chefs that used to teach there. She
Mm-hmm.
made cakes for the queen. She was like a massive pastry chef,
Mm-hmm.
and her friend got a job at the Mandarin Oriental as an executive chef. And he said, "Look, I need some people to work here for us to create a new team and so on." why don't you put on the Le Cordon Bleu board that I have positions available for interview? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to apply. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, they're going to say no because I don't have background in pastry. And I just went to on the interview, I just said to the guy, I said, please just get me. I'm going to learn. I'm going to be a sponge. I'll do whatever you want. Just teach me. And the guy
Yeah.
was like, okay, must have thought, oh my God, I'm just gonna
She's
let
crazy.
her in. She's crazy, but I'll let
Yeah.
her in.
Yeah.
And
I
that
can
was
not
the start
imagine.
of it. It was amazing. I cooked divine afternoon tea in London. The little cute desserts everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And room service to all the pastries for it. We had a big kitchen at Mandarin Oriental that we were actually three pastry kitchens at the time. We were Mandarin Oriental pastry kitchen, Heston Blumenthal pastry kitchen in the same kitchen but different brigade. And then there was another one, Babalu, which is one
Mm-hmm.
Michelin star, all were in the same kitchen, and we were just a nice team together, sharing a kitchen in three brigades and sharing some pastry love. So the amount that I learned in that kitchen was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, yeah. So do you think that that's where your love for pastries and cakes started? Did it start there? Because you loved
No,
cooking overall, right? You loved cooking. But so tell me.
absolutely loved
Yeah.
cooking. My passion for pastry comes from a deep addiction to sugar. I love sugar. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And I can change my three-course meal, entree, main, dessert for three desserts. I am a person that I need to watch out because the addiction, oh my God, sugar high is
Mhm.
so good, isn't it? But it's a
Yeah.
problem because it's not very healthy. But
Yeah.
since I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember this vividly. I can taste it in my mouth
Mm-hmm.
just talking about it. Since I was young, I would my treat as a little girl, like when my parents wanted to take us for a treat,
Yeah.
they would ask, and I'm like, I want to go to the cake shop. I want to choose like Brazilians. Our background in cuisine is Portuguese, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, the little tarts, the
Yeah.
little chocolates, very deep, deep pastry cuisine in Brazil. It's a lot of condensed milk,
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Cakes are heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So I grew up like that. And there was a famous cake shop where I'm from,
Mm-hmm.
where I knew each taste, each cake. And by
Yeah.
my mood on the day, I would go for the deep flavor one, and there was one that was the hazelnut one. And I
Mm-hmm.
loved that hazelnut cake. It was a tart cake, a lot of mousse, a lot of chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, I was 12 years old. I went to eat my hazelnut tart, and I realized that the chef had changed the recipe. I couldn't taste 100% the little sugary. It was the praline.
Mm-hmm.
He changed the recipe, and the praline was not the same. And I'm like, I wrote a letter to the 12 years old. I wrote a letter to the
Yeah.
pastry place saying, I am a customer concerned about what's happening. I come here every week for the hazelnut cake, and you guys changed the recipe. It's not as good as before.
What did they say? Did they write you back?
They must have. Can you imagine reading that to the chef? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, the chef thinking a 12-year-old telling me off. But I was
Yeah.
right. Hey, they
Mm-hmm.
changed the recipe back.
Did they? Well, I
They
mean,
did.
that's good. That's good advocacy for you right there.
Yeah.
So, we did all of this at the Mandarin Oriental in the UK, but you've mentioned your hubby. He's Australian. Talk to us about how you transitioned from the UK to
Oh
Australia and into Marina Machado cakes that we all talk about on the
my
internet.
God.
Let's talk about you
Okay.
leaving the UK and how did you start making cakes?
Okay. So pretty much again, we wanted, we lived in London. I lived there for almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always homesick. Tropical Brazil, sun is out, humidity is high. That feeling of, the sun. I really miss the sun. So I was getting
Mm-hmm.
homesick in London. And Simon is Australian. He's half Australian, half English. And he said to me, "Look, let's go to Australia because maybe you will like it." And then I said, "You know what? Let's visit and then we'll see." And then we came here and visit, and I fell in love. Here is just absolutely stunning.
Mm-hmm.
We are located in southeast Queensland,
Mm-hmm.
which you get both worlds here. Here where I live is a mix of I'm back home but not being home back in
Yeah.
Brazil. I am in my mom's farm in Australia. That's how I feel. And
Yeah.
the infrastructure, of course, is we have you can still live a life in a farm, but you have the city right there, very close by. So he brought me here to a place called Tambourine Mountain. His parents live close by, and he had a piece of land here that he wanted to build a house. And I came here, and I'm like, I love this. This is it. This is where we are gonna have a family. I
Yeah.
just knew it instantly. And then we are like, okay, let's leave London. We backpacked for 3 months in Southeast Asia. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to learn the cuisine there because I am really I absolutely love Asian cuisine, and I
Yeah.
wanted to get that fusion because cuisine in Australia there is a massive fusion with Asian cuisine,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I wanted to learn that. So 3 months
Yeah.
in Southeast Asia, then Australia. Hit
Mm-hmm.
Australia hard. Came here like worked in Michelin. I've got all the experience. Come here, give it to me. I'm gonna hit the kitchens very hard.
Mm-hmm.
The problem was I'm not in Melbourne. I'm not in Sydney. I am in the Gold Coast.
Okay.
Cuisine in the Gold Coast is not as known as the cuisine in Melbourne and in Sydney here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Here is a bit more like, let's have a laid back lifestyle, enjoy nature, relax, hug a
Mm-hmm.
koala and a kangaroo. And I hit the kitchens down in the Gold Coast thinking, Uh, it's just gonna be like back in London. I'm just gonna
Mm-hmm.
work 17 hours, but I'm gonna cook amazing food.
Yeah.
Came here, didn't like the food, and didn't like the hours I was working. And then Simon and I started thinking about having a family, and I'm thinking, how am I gonna be a mom?
Yeah.
Working 15, 16 hours every day. And when you're working in high end kitchens like that, Altricia, your mindset becomes a little like an army mindset. You see, you are trained as a chef to push, 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 live on that adrenaline all the time, to cook the best food, blah, 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 blah. And suddenly I was going with that mindset, but that adrenaline hitting me. But
Mm-hmm.
then my husband saying to me, "Are we gonna have a family? Are we like? Are we? What are we?"
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, okay." Got pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Got pregnant. Had Clara, my first little thing, the cute little thing, and was hitting the restaurants is still so hard, high hours. Um, and I missed a lot of my daughter's childhood. Her
I
first
see.
year, her second year, I was working every weekend, all days on the weekend, every evening, right? Those are chef's hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is this taking me? Right? I don't want to miss out on why did I become a mom then?
Yeah.
If I have a
Yeah.
choice, what will be my choice? So that's when bits of Marina Machado cakes is started in my life.
Mm.
Because I also missed cooking pastry. Every time I'm cooking cuisine, I miss cooking pastry. So I come back home and I just
Mm-hmm.
bake, bake, bake. If I am working baking, then I miss cuisine. So I come back home and I cook savory all the time. That's my heart.
Yeah.
So on my spare time, what was Marina doing? Cooking
Mm-hmm.
cakes for friends for free. I would cook
Mm-hmm.
cake here. Cook now. Oh, it's your birthday. Can I cook a cake for you? Yeah, and then Marina goes cook a cake. Do you like the
Yeah.
cake? Can you eat the cake?
Substituting.
I would watch
Yeah.
people eating my cake like, tell me, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
How about the flavor? Tell me a bit more about it. Can you taste this? Can you taste that? Very
Yeah.
particular, yeah.
Yeah. Like
And
they're in a test, an exam, right?
oh, don't get the word wrong. Just tell me the truth.
Yeah.
So pretty much, uh, by by the time I actually realized the cooking cakes could become a business. I was actually asking for time off work to cook cakes for people,
Ooh.
and I'm like, but it doesn't make sense because I'm giving cakes for free. I still need to pay my bills. I still need the money. Everyone is asking for cakes, and I'm taking time off work to cook cakes, and I'm missing time with my family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm here thinking, oh, maybe this could be a business.
Yeah.
Then my neighbor next door had the cooking school here where I live, and she
Okay.
was retiring. And she said to me, Marina, I'm retiring. Do you want my kitchen for free? And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, I know you like cooking. Why don't you just get my benches, get my fridges and everything, put on the ground floor of your house and just see if I don't know. It's up to you. And I'm like, for free? Yeah, for free. Just
Mm-hmm.
give it. Come on.
Yeah.
Um,
I know.
and that was the start of Marina Machado Cakes.
Yeah.
The ground floor of my house now is a commercial kitchen. And with all the benches and everything that my neighbor gave to me, and then I had to
Mm-hmm.
increase the size of the kitchen because it became, a bit bigger. It needed more space,
Yeah.
and that was the start of it all. And it gave me what I was after. I was
Mm-hmm.
after to a bit more of a lifestyle with my family, be a mom,
Yeah.
be an
Yeah.
individual, be a woman, be a chef, be a
Mm-hmm.
pastry chef, and be a cake maker, a cake designer. So yeah,
Yeah. That's such it's I've lived similar stories of people investing, seeing one's passion and investing in me, and I can see that from your neighbor who had that school, right? So
yeah.
here we are with Marina Machado cakes. In conversations with you before, I know that you bake from a purposeful place. Purpose fills your cakes. Purpose fills your baking, and it really is in line with the Cake Therapy Foundation, where I'm baking with a purpose. I'm trying to lean into women and girls, to bring out their passion and joys through food and through cake. I would like to know from you, Marina, what goes into your designs in Marina Machado cake. Share with us your process, your approach to each cake.
Cake flavor and cake design, both.
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So look, if I can say something to whoever is going to watch us, is cook. Cook because it's gonna heal you. Somehow, whatever you want to cook, go deep get lost in that process, you are not going to see the clock. You're not going to go, what time is it? It's suddenly you are drawn into that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
somehow it's going to heal you.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, cooking is I cannot escape from cooking. I became addicted to
Mm-hmm.
cooking, and it's a positive addiction in my life because it
Yeah.
is a healing process. So going back to a little bit of what happened in my life, um, as in the traumas I had in life when I was a child. When I got pregnant of my kids, remember I mentioned to you that I couldn't remember the traumas?
Yes, absolutely, you did.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. So I lived until 32 years old without
Mm-hmm.
remembering anything. But then the hormones of pregnancy kicked in,
Yeah.
and I started having dreams. How do you call recurring dreams? Is that
Yeah,
right?
recurring dreams. Yeah. Yep.
And I would wake up sweaty and going like, what did I just dream about? And
Mm-hmm.
pretty much my dreams started bringing memories from the past that my brain found a way to shut down to protect me, right?
Yeah.
Um, and those memories were stored very deep in my brain, and nothing was getting it out
Wow. So you literally blocked all of that out.
completely,
Wow.
completely.
So
Looking back,
yeah.
yeah, sorry, tell me.
No, so I wanted to ask, so it's the pregnancy that with this child that actually reactivated your memory of the things that happened to you back in Brazil per se or as a child?
Yeah. So pretty
Wow.
much, I have two kids. So my
Mm-hmm.
first pregnancy was a very mellow pregnancy, was a calmer pregnancy with a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And the doctors, I have a very my doctor became a friend, and she bakes with me. We
Okay.
heal through baking.
Mm-hmm.
She goes through pastry courses, and she comes back and she's like, Marina, look at my recipes. Let's cook together. She is a very kind person, and a big part of my journey, healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I could just see how I lived life always in that adrenaline,
Yeah.
the mess, the we call nowadays, Simon and I call it the soap opera.
Yeah. Yeah, the soap opera.
You see, and throughout the pregnancy, the first pregnancy, I started having recurring dreams, but I would have pieces of memory and they were not together. It was not a story. It was suddenly a flash of a memory that I had
Yeah.
from the past without a
Mm-hmm.
story. And then I would the other night have another flash, and they were very on my face type of flashes. I would go like, you see,
Wow.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then I went to my doctor because I started getting very confused about it, and I just broke down in tears and told her all the memories I was having. And she's like, okay, we are going to have to get a psychologist here. And, I started a treatment for a long time, very slowly because of the pregnancy too.
Yeah.
And it was 3 years of healing
Mm-hmm.
through letting to to be able to stop my panic attacks because
Yeah.
I would have the memories and have panic attacks. You see? And I'm like,
Yeah.
and I'm not being able to puzzle anything. And having to it was a very difficult process because also I needed to be able to puzzle. I needed to start touching base with my family, and you go with all those pieces and things get a bit big, and you don't want the soap opera back again, and so on. But throughout many many years of healing, and also with my second pregnancy of my little guy Luca, I got the second pregnancy. Artistry was a punch of hormones.
Yeah.
That little guy came with all that Brazilian power in him
Mhm.
and brought it to my body. And the memories were all puzzled up in a way that my real process of healing started. So I met a psychologist that could help me with some EMDR treatment,
Mhm.
and it was a very very hard journey,
Yeah.
but it was a rebirth for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
So
a kiss of it was a rebirth. It was a chance of a second life.
yeah. So were you baking through these things? Were you baking as
Always
this was
baking,
happening? Yeah.
always baking. I went
Yeah.
into a very deep process of bread making during that time. I
Yeah.
had to make bread every day. I had to get that dough going.
Yeah.
Dough. And then I went to therapy and I spoke to her. I said I can't stop making dough. And she's like, because making dough is one of the processes of your mind. You block the panic attack and you let your mind go without panicking. So it
Mhm.
was truly healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went back. I'm always back in with touching base with my psychologist just to make sure everything's okay
Mhm.
and everything's gonna be okay when I
Yeah.
panic a bit. And she's like, "What are you cooking?" I'm like, This time I just need a strawberry tart. It's a
Yeah.
deep strawberry tart. I need that flavor.
Mhm.
I need that kindness." So always baking, always
Yeah.
in, yeah.
Yeah. So you hear that our guests are listening. So guys, you hear that baking is therapy. I bake, I too bake from a similar place, Marina. I bake my baking, I learned my baking when I was pregnant with my second, my girl, more specifically. And it was that baking that I received that helped me through postpartum depression. So my babies are actually alive because of baking. So I really do understand from that place, which you bake. We share that in common. You often said you love making cakes. You actually believe that you were meant to actually bake cakes. Do you think that this is where your legacy is? Is this where you want your legacy to be? To just be a cake maker, cake designer, cake artist? Tell me about the fine dining. Are you okay with pushing
Okay.
that to the side?
I believe I am. I was meant to cook.
Yeah. Oh, you were meant to cook.
I was meant to cook.
Mm-hmm.
I That is part of my healing. There is no doubt about it.
Yeah.
If further in my career I'm not cooking for also to pay my bills for a financial purpose, I will
Mm-hmm.
be I will be doing something else if it's gonna be back to social work, which
Mm-hmm.
will include cooking,
Yeah.
because I can't get away from it. Uh, it's a part of me. It's my
Mm-hmm.
healing process. It's my safe place.
Yeah.
So as an example, I'll give you an example. This year, I went. I cooked the first half of the year. I cooked less than normally what I do because of international teaching courses.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
had
Yeah.
so pretty much I go teaching and then
Mm-hmm.
I need to come back and set up a time for me with nothing on, as in like no deliveries, so
Yeah.
I can calm down, because the master classes for me, they are very look, I am a very sensitive person,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
I can really feel the vibe in the room. I
Yeah.
come close to you and I feel what's going on. I look at your cake and I travel through your journey with you.
Yeah.
And and that's one of the things, and that's one of the consequences of my trauma, if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it. I'm highly sensitive because I had to always read the room to be alive.
Yeah.
to please people, to be alive,
That's
to
interesting.
and in one session with the therapist, she looked at me and she said, I have one thing to tell you. Never forget that also what happened to you made
Mm-hmm.
who you are. And that is that trait on me is a positive trait because I can help people through feeling so much with them, you
Mm-hmm.
see. But
Mm-hmm.
then when I
Yeah.
come back home, I'm dead because I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm so tired. Trisha, what was the question again? I can't
No,
stop
you're
talking,
answering
my
the
God.
question. No, no, that's fine. Like you're sharing with our listeners, like very, they're getting to know you, and it is good. So you're
Oh
really
yeah,
responding to the
I think
question. Yeah.
I think I know. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, I remember. Um, I
It.
am I am meant to cook.
Yeah.
You see, I don't think I will be a cake designer forever.
Yeah. Okay.
So cake design, I'll tell you where cake design came from me. Because
Mm-hmm.
I started with cake making, the start of Marina Machado cakes.
Yeah.
And then I became a cake artist.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what it is. There is another part of my childhood, which was
Mm.
a safe place, healing place for me with my grandparents.
Okay.
So mom and dad would go to work. I was too young. So they they would ask, my mom would ask my grandparents to look after me. And my grandmother, she was an artist. She was a painter,
Yeah.
uh,
Okay.
and a sculptor. And my grandfather, um, he was a lawyer, but retired, and his passion was to play chess with us all the time. So my afternoons would be in my grandmother's studio,
Mm.
carving massive pieces of wood with her because she needed to work and she needed to entertain me. So come here and help me.
Yeah.
And or she will go, you know what? It's Easter time. Shall we make papier mache eggs? And then you can go with your mom and make little chocolates. And we'll put
Mm-hmm.
the little chocolates in the papier mache and then we paint it and then we give them. So my entire life was that. And when I was in cake making, I was missing doing something like creating something beautiful. I was
Mm-hmm.
sick of semi-naked cakes with fresh flowers,
Yeah.
you see.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what? This is killing me. My
Mm-hmm.
passion is actually baking different stuff. It's different stuff. I can't just do the same all the time.
Yeah.
And this is killing me. Therefore, I'm gonna quit and go back to kitchens, or I'm gonna give everything I can until the end so I am sure this is not
Mm-hmm.
gonna work, or yeah, this is gonna work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then I was lucky enough to be invited by a stylist for a shoot, and she has a very edgy, styling vibe. And I'm like, okay, this is my
Mm-hmm.
chance. I said, can I go to town? She's like, yeah, go to town. And then, Tricia, it was the first time I brought a crazy cake to life.
Yeah.
Absolutely insanely crazy. The shoot was called Celestial Earth, and it was the connection between the stars and the ground and all of that. And I just went, you want celestial earth? You're gonna get celestial earth. And
Yeah.
then I made a beautiful brown cake with all imperfect and broken facades everywhere, brown, deep brown. And I embossed in that very imperfect surface stars, and I painted it gold. And then the crates of the moon on the surface of the cake, very
Mm-hmm.
imperfect. And suddenly a
Yeah.
massive golden ball like this, not ball, like an imperfect shape, abstract,
Y-
which
Yeah.
was like a shooting star.
Mm-hmm.
And that cake went viral, my first cake that went viral. And
Mm-hmm.
from then on, I'm like, ooh, maybe there is there is a market, because in my mind there was never a market for artistic cakes where I live.
Yeah.
and and then the lane invited me for another shoot, and I made 9 cakes for the lane. And on that shoot, I just poured my heart into
Yeah.
my cake journey, my
Hmm.
healing journey, and my cooking journey. You
Hmm.
see, so that's when Marina Machado Cakes was born, as in artistry, not cake
Yeah.
making.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So share with our listeners, if you may, like what, where does your inspiration come from then? You speak so passionately about movement and
I
your art.
know.
Where do you get your inspiration from? Who inspires you? What inspires you?
So nature is
Hmm.
my safe place. Okay.
Yeah.
Nature, so pretty much in my childhood, if I go back again, now I understand it a bit more. And
Hmm.
um, my safe place was going to my mom's farm, riding our horses, going to creeks and bathing the horses,
Yeah.
just enjoying the wind and the trees. It was
Hmm.
just a safe place to be, and where I found myself.
Yeah.
I could be myself. Okay.
Hmm.
So it is the same for me now. I'm surrounded by nature. It's where I feel safe. I
Hmm.
am always grounding. I'm always without shoes, walking, outside on the grass, and walking through bushwalks and hugging trees. I'm a tree hugger. I'm telling you, I'm a tree hugger. The
A
crazy,
literal
if
tree
you,
hugger.
nah, I mean it. If you are on a bushwalk at Tambourine Mountain and there is someone hugging a tree, it's me. Me. So that's where I am. I love nature. I love the elements. They heal
Hmm.
me, and I feel drawn when I'm feeling down, for example, and I need a bit of just cleansing and so on. I gotta go down to the waterfall and touch the
Yeah.
water. That is
Yeah. Yeah.
it. I'm drawn
Yeah.
to it as I'm drawn to cooking. Therefore, most of my cakes, mainly the ones from 3 years ago, they
Hmm.
are very nature-based movements, movement of the
Hmm.
water, movement of the wind, a cyclone, a
Yeah. I know
simply
that cyclone
beautiful
cake.
cyclone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful cyclone cake, girl. That's
I
really, really
know.
good. Yeah.
The cyclone cake was it was the acceptance of me as in a person that went through a lot of traumas, a person that was broken,
Hmm.
but that person is still alive with a second chance of a beautiful life,
Yeah.
actually knowing who I am
Knowing who
now,
you are. Yeah.
knowing who I am, who is Marina, you
Yeah.
know. I'm this crazy woman, if you want to call me that. I don't mind.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. You're
loves
crazy.
cooking. That
Yeah.
just It's just so deep in me,
Yeah.
and that's
And
it.
isn't it amazing when you find that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the
Mhm.
cake, my cake journey, which I don't know when it will end, not soon, because I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And my cake journey is helping me to find who I am. It will be a forever journey, Trisha. This is a blessing in my life. I
Yeah.
am
Hmm.
grateful for this chance to um, to be a part of the cycle of nature, which is the produce we get, to be able to be a part of it, to provide something for people to eat and grow and heal. We are
Yeah.
we are very blessed with this choice.
Indeed.
You see,
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. You know, we 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 often, you and I, talk about being, having had and gone through this similar experience, right?
yeah,
And I talk about cake in the form of therapy and how cake changed and saved my life. I want to ask you this. Do you believe that this process of culinary, the kitchen and baking, has it changed, saved your life? Has it?
No doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt about it. Because when I cook, everything else stops.
yeah.
My worries stop.
Mm-hmm.
My brain, which is one of my worst enemies, is how I let that worry go and the anxiety, and I start being so harsh towards myself with
Yeah.
the way I talked,
Mm-hmm.
the way I talk to me, like that always stops when I'm cooking. It's a kind healing process. I am safe when I'm cooking, and I actually go so deep into it. The obsession is so huge that
Yeah.
I have to remember that I've got other things in life,
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
my little, and now Luca, my son, is becoming so passionate about cooking that
Mm-hmm.
he wants to be in the kitchen with me. So I need to set up a time where he can come to my kitchen. And then he's healing through that too, because he's got a lot of energy, my Luca. This
Yeah.
energy that I have, and it can be it's so much that you're like, oh my god, how am I gonna control this?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been through cooking with him. He goes make cookies,
Yeah.
rolling the dough with me, making cookies. Oh, come on. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Absolutely.
going through generations now, Trisha. How
Yeah, yeah,
beautiful
of
is
course
that?
it is. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Because my daughter comes into the kitchen with me. She loves being in the kitchen, and I started this baking journey when I was pregnant with her. So I felt like, I gave her the gift of the gift of baking.
Right?
Yeah, I absolutely did. So who would Marina be without the kitchen?
Uh, in a bit of a messy, crazy place, I would say, hey,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'm going to London to teach on Saturday, right?
Hmm.
And last week, it's been a very crazy wedding season for me. It was all at once in the second half of the year. I
Yeah.
had I had 1 week, 3 weeks ago, I delivered 6 cakes and a dessert table, 400 pieces, 500 pieces of desserts.
Hmm.
Um, and for me, last week I was broken physically because it's been so hard because it's a seasonal business, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I had 1 day off after I don't know how many days in a row working, and
Hmm.
I just Simon hubby said, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna read the book?" I'm like, "No, I just want everyone away from me. I want to come to my house kitchen, which is up here,
Hmm.
and I just want to cook the whole day. I just want
Yeah.
to cook." And I cooked all the meals for my husband for and my kids for when I go to London.
Hmm.
Does he need me to cook meals for him? No, he can cook himself. But
Yeah.
I just wanted that. That
Yeah.
healed me. That gave me that is my passion. That is my
Hmm.
hobby, my passion. I don't need to have other hobbies because my job is my hobby.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Absolutely.
and I don't watch the time because
Mm-mm.
that's healing for me. So it's therapy, meditation, mindfulness,
Yeah,
all together in what I love.
yeah. Marina, you talk about being a mess without the kitchen, and I lead a foundation called the Cake Therapy Foundation. It's for women and girls who really experience immense amount of trauma. So there are some of our listeners who are here who are in a mess themselves right now. And would you share with them, would you share with these listeners the what you feel when you bake, words of encouragement to them as they too are about to embark on this journey, and give them words of comfort that they too can.
Oh, look, God, if I could, I would hug all of them. I'm a big hugger. You know that?
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to tell you, beautiful people that feel you can't do it anymore, that you can't take it anymore. And I've been in this place. And sometimes I still go back to the place of, I don't know if I can take this anymore. Can I just restart life somehow? Can life
Mm-hmm.
can just click and I'm born again without what I the trauma I went through. I'm talking from a place of a person that went through very deep traumas, guys. That maybe I'm not ready to share in the specifics about it. However, I can promise you, I was not look, if I kept going on that trauma throughout my entire life, adult life, I wouldn't be here. It was deep. It was, and it will always be deep. That's what I want to tell you. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if you are suffering and so on, um, that is a part of you, but that is your past. That is not what you are now. You have the opportunity in your life from now on to start your own journey understanding who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot wait to see who you are and
Yeah.
what you are going to bring to this beautiful world of ours, because you were born to share who you are, to bring to the world this beautiful you, right? And cooking can
Mm-hmm.
definitely be something that will heal you or help to heal you. A
Yeah.
place of safety, a place of freedom, complete freedom, no judgment. There is no past and no future. It's now with cooking.
Yeah.
And 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 this bless that is to be able to share what nature provides to us through cooking and to your table, being cakes or being the stew you're gonna cook, that beautiful stew you're gonna cook for hours, you see, and sit and share with people is a bless,
Yeah.
is a place I will never want to not be, you
Mm-hmm.
see. So
Yeah.
I'm encouraging you guys to cook, bake.
Yeah.
Baking is healing. Bread making healing. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Marina says cook.
Cook.
I believe that cooking heals as well. Marina, before we wrap up right here, right, I want you to, we also have budding baking entrepreneurs who are listening to us as well. What, leave two tips with our young baking entrepreneurs. Two tips. Two tips. Would you like to
Okay.
leave? Yeah.
I have two tips. I have many tips. I can go
Okay.
on and on. You know me, but we
Mm-hmm.
need to cut it short, don't we, Marina? Don't talk that much.
Yeah.
So my first tip is you will find challenges on the way. Okay, never let them hold you back. Always keep in mind that you can feel fragile because the challenges are coming and you are like, I'm running out of energy. I'm running out of energy. Take a step back, replan, and go for your life.
Yes.
Don't hold back. The 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 baking world needs you. You are in this to be a part of it, and we need you. So
Mm-hmm.
when you are feeling low in energy, just step back from the whole thing, and then you go when your energy is back. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
So that's my first tip. Um, my second tip is always provide what you love baking.
Yeah.
You see, if you are not proud of the flavors you're putting together, if you're like, oh, is this really yummy? Or you're like, oh, I don't like the density of these, or and so on, work on your skills. invest in getting your skills up there, so you
Mm-hmm.
are very proud of what
Yeah.
you are providing. I am with my cakes. I'm like, oh, you want to taste my cakes? Yeah, you're gonna taste my cakes. I put 8 flavors together with loads and loads of intricate elements because that's my palate. It
Yeah.
needs to have my palate doesn't work with just cake and buttercream. I was
Mm-hmm.
at the start of my journey making just cake buttercream, cake buttercream, cake buttercream, and I started doubting myself, but that is me. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean it is the same with you or the same with you. Got to cook for yourself. You got to be proud
Mm-hmm.
of what you do. It's what you love,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yep.
nowadays, as an example, um I don't know if I've told you this, but I cook dessert tables too because it makes me feel just cakes.
Mm-hmm.
I need something else that comes with it where I can bring more variety and more flavor pairing.
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
so when I come back from London, I have another dessert table to deliver, and it's a high tea dessert table. They are letting me cook whatever I want, and get ready, Altricia, because
Yeah.
it's going to be fantastic. I
Yeah.
have all the flavors happening. I have a lot of piping, high tea happening. So that is me. You see,
Mm-hmm.
I need to. I need to cook. I need dessert
Yeah.
tables. I need cakes. I need my kitchen up here cooking for my family. So never let my tip is cutting it short now because I always talk a lot. Never let people put you in a box. Be
Okay.
what you wanna be,
Mm-hmm. So
baby.
cook and be yourself.
That's right.
Marina, what's in the pipeline for you? What is next? What is next up
Oh,
for you? You mentioned
what is
London.
next
Yeah,
for
what's
me?
next?
That's
Yeah.
right. So, as you know, I started teaching master classes internationally. Um, I did find out this year that being away from the kitchen was getting me depressed.
Oh,
And I'm like, oh my God, I can't teach. Like, I can't have that. I need to be back in the kitchen, you see.
mm-hmm.
So, I I had a big year, Tricia. It was I turned 40. Oh my God, I turned 40.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Yeah.
So my journey this year was actually realizing that um, I, for the first time in my life, I learned not to work um, driven by adrenaline all the time. I think I became a little addicted to that because of
Mm-hmm.
so much trauma living through it, and then I carried that way of working, and then you hit 40. For me it was 40. You hit 40 and your body tells you, you know what, you can't live by that anymore. You need to
Yeah.
be kind to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So for me it's about kindness and self-love at the moment. That's my
Mm-hmm.
journey through my cakes. And
Yeah.
how am I doing this? I'm getting the right balance between getting out there and helping people
Mm-hmm.
and being helped through my educational role in cake making, cake
Yeah.
design. So
Mm-hmm.
I am going to London, and I might go to 2 or 3 more places next year, maybe.
Yes.
And at the same time, I'm not uh, decreasing my orders because I need to cook.
Yeah. You
So I'm
absolutely
gonna
have to cook.
teach on my downtime, on my low season, and I'm gonna keep delivering my cakes on high season because it's my healing process. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
how
Absolutely.
I feel my bucket by
Mm-hmm.
cooking, by my kids' smiles, and by exploring nature with my family. And then I
Mm-hmm.
go give my whatever I get from my bucket on in courses and cake design, and then I fill it up again, and it goes like that for me.
Yeah. So there's a term that I got from you when I was in training with you in February, and I use it all the time in my speeches that I do right now. Is I have to ultimately feed my soul. I have to make cakes that I have to do work that actually feeds my soul. And You have fed my soul. You have fed our soul. You have fed the soul of my listeners today. And I want to thank you, Marina. I've been waiting to have this conversation with you. You know this. You know how I feel for you deeply as a person, not just Marina Machado Cake, but who Marina is and who Marina represents to me and for me. And I want to say, Marina, thank you. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. I'd like to share with our listeners how they can find you online.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Look, thank you for having me. It is an
Mhm.
absolute pleasure to be here, to be able to share my experience and just to be able to be helpful for whoever needs a little help. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm here for you guys. Please, Marina Machado Cakes, contact me if you would like to talk about whatever you want to talk about, your journey, my journey. Just send me a DM and I'm happy
Yeah.
to help. I think this is the place that I'm meant to be. Also, we are meant to be. We
Yeah,
are here. There
absolutely.
is this reason, you see,
Yeah.
and I just want to thank you for having me. And I am telling you, we need to cook together.
Yeah, we absolutely
We
do.
are going to cook
We will.
together.
We will
One
cook
day we
together.
will.
Yeah, we definitely will cook together. I absolutely believe that. And you listen to Marina, DM her, she'll respond. Believe me. What I also want to say is like if you want to reach out to the Cake Therapy, you can to the Cake Therapy Foundation. Go on our website. It's www.cake-therapy.org and get involved with the foundation. In whatever way you can help us. The work is done for systems impacted women and girls. Marina is all about that life. She's all about pouring into women and girls, just like the Cake Therapy Foundation. I want to thank you for today's episode. I believe it's a blessing. It has blessed our listeners. And until next time, guys, thank you for joining us on the Cake Therapy Podcast, your slice of joy and healing with me and Marina Machado today. So thank you and see you next time.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much,
tuning in
guys.
to the Cake Therapy Podcast. Your support means the world to us. Let us know what you thought about today's episode in the comment section. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And if you found the conversation helpful, please share it with a friend. Also, follow Sugar Spoon Desserts on all social media platforms. We invite you to support Cake Therapy and the work we do with our foundation by clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description or by visiting the Cake Therapy website and making a donation. All your support will go towards the Cake Therapy Foundation and the work we are doing to help women and girls. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode.